Welcome to Boomer Between the Games, presented by Xfinity. I'm your host, Boomer Esiason. Later on, we're going to take a look at that great performance by Le'Veon Bell against the Bills. And of course, we'll take a look at some great Week 15 matchups in the NFL. But first, let's welcome in our guest. He's Chris Sims. He's a former NFL quarterback, the lead analyst at Bleacher Report, and a CBS game analyst from time to time. So welcome back to the show. Chris, how you doing today, buddy?
Thanks, Boom. Glad you're not sick of me yet. Glad to be here.
Yeah, okay. Glad to have you. Always glad to have you. Let's take a look back at Le'Veon Bell and his performance against the Buffalo Bills. It was one for the ages as he set a Steeler record. In spite of Ben Roethlisberger throwing 3 interceptions, the Steelers came to play and walked away with a victory.
Yeah, they're certainly scary, and they're hot right now. And, you know, I listen, I think it's really cool what we're seeing out of Pittsburgh right now. I know we talked about this a little the last time I was on a few weeks ago, but they've changed their identity in Pittsburgh. The offense is no longer going through Ben Roethlisberger. They've become a downhill, power-run football team, tight end, fullback in front of Le'Veon Bell. They have a very good offensive line with guys like David DeCastro as one of the best guards in football.
Now, as far as Monday night's game, Ravens at the Patriots, I did the game for Westwood One. Tom Brady put on a clinic, threw for over 400 yards, 3 touchdown passes, made one errant throw where Eric Weddle made the interception in the end zone, but this game shouldn't have been as close as it was. 2 major gaffes on special teams for the Patriots, which is uncharacteristic for them, although this year they've had problems with punt returns. The fact still remains. I say they are the class of the league. They are the class offense in the NFL, and the reason for that is because they are so dynamic, and he threw for 400 yards without Gronkowski, without Amendola.
Nonetheless, Tom Brady's throwing the ball as good as he's ever thrown it in his career, and New England is the class of the NFL. And yes, if you made me bet money, I would say they represent the AFC in the Super Bowl.
You know, interestingly enough, the Tom Brady revenge tour goes on. Next week they go to Denver. We'll talk about that preview in a second. But right now, time for our Twitter question of the week presented by Xfinity. And this one comes from @JohnGoldberg95. What he wants to know, Chris, who has a worse quarterback situation going forward, the Cleveland Browns or the New York Jets? #BoomerBTG. For my money, it's got to be the Cleveland Browns. I'm not sure RG3 is long for this league, especially at the money that they're paying him. I know they got Cody Kessler with the 3rd overall draft pick. I really don't know what to expect of him, although he did show flashes when he did play for the Browns. And if you play Browns, or if you play quarterback for the Browns, the likelihood is that you're going to get hurt anyway. So I would say that right now, Bryce Petty and Christian Hackenberg are a little bit more solidly entrenched than anybody in Cleveland.
I'm going to go the opposite end with you there because, first of all, Christian Hackenberg was the worst second-round pick in the history of football. So I don't think he can be a backup. I don't think he can be a third stringer. And I think the fact that they showed that they didn't even play him in the preseason shows you that there's great concern there. I've never seen that happen with a second-round pick until he finally got in there. I think it was in preseason game number 4. But I'll just argue with you, Boomer, just for argument's sake, too, to say, listen, at least they got RG3 and Josh McCown. At least we know they can play a little there in Cleveland. So I will actually say the Jets have the worst quarterback situation. I know that hurts your heart.
Well, I will say this, that Bryce Petty has something that the others don't have, and that's an actual win in an NFL game this year. So if you have a question for us, tweet at us with #BoomerBTG, and maybe we'll use your tweet on the show. All right, Chris, let's look ahead to the Week 15 matchups now in the NFL. Ravens host the Eagles. Carson Wentz in particular still struggling a little bit. I thought he actually had a little bit of a bounce-back game last week against the Washington Redskins, but he's finding out what you and I know from personal experience, that playing quarterback in the NFL is just not that easy, and there's so many things that go into it. I think he struggles from time to time, but I think this is valuable for him and the Eagles. I think he's going to be fine moving forward, but this is not going to be an easy game for him, much like it was for Tom Brady on Monday night against this Ravens #1 defense.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, yeah, he's a rookie. He's done some great things. And then, listen, in my eyes, I think he's outplayed Dak Prescott this year, just to put that out there. Because, I mean, Dak Prescott, the game doesn't go through him. It's gone through their great offensive line. And then number 2 is Ezekiel Elliott. Carson Wentz, the game goes through him in Philadelphia. They can't do anything unless he makes plays. They've been banged up on the offensive line. And, quite honestly, they don't have one legit #1 receiver in the NFL on their roster. He's got no weapons around him. He's had to do a lot by himself. And yes, I just think it's too tall of a task against the Baltimore defense. Like you said, they're good. They're good as far as coaching-wise. Dean Pease is creative as it gets in mixing up coverages in the back end. They're extremely big and physical with pass rushers up front. I do think the Eagles defense will give Baltimore some problems as well, but I expect Baltimore to kind of win a low-scoring, ugly, physical type of game.
Now, the Patriots do travel to Denver. And again, the revenge tour, as I was speaking about, here we go. This is last year's rematch of the AFC Championship game. I was there. I was in person. I watched the game. I watched this Denver defense get all over Tom Brady. I mean, it was a relentless pass rush. Now, the pass rush is still there. Von Miller's having a great year. Their secondary, maybe the best secondary when it comes to man-to-man covering guys. But the problem is they're probably going to be missing their two interior linemen. They can't stop the run, as evidenced by some of the games that they've played here against Tennessee and Oakland recently. I would think that LeGarrette Blount and James White and Deion Lewis should have a big game in this game. And I would also think that internally and behind the scenes that Tom Brady wants to make right as to what happened last year in the AFC Championship game. And I guarantee you that both Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia, for that matter, the defensive coordinator, will come up with a plan to slow down Trevor Siemian.
Yeah, well, that's not that hard of a plan to slow down Trevor Siemian. That Denver Bronco offense stinks. It really does. There's not much to it. If they don't have one-on-one on the outside with Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, they can't do much. And just to have some fun with you, can we stop the revenge tour thing? Revenge against who? Himself for taking air out of the football? Okay, so that's got to stop. I'm so sick of hearing that. But nonetheless, I do expect New England to win the football game, and I think you hit it pretty right. What's the problem with Denver right now? It's their run defense. I don't think most people really realize it's the 29th ranked run defense in all of football, and this is not the same New England Patriots team as last year. This is a downhill smash-mouth football team. You look at at least 4 of the 5 victories for the New England Patriots against the teams they played with winning records. It's been LeGarrette Blount has been the one steady constant for sure.
You know, I let you go on there for a while because I didn't want to interrupt you in what you said about the revenge tour, but I will say this. If you were suspended 4 games and you were embarrassed for 19 straight months, you'd be pissed off as well, and you'd want to take it out on all these other teams that basically caused the problems in your life. Most notably, the Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh, which he did on Monday Night Tom Brady, and most notably the Denver Broncos, who really beat the living you-know-what out of them last year in the AFC Championship game. That's why I say revenge tour. Thanks, Chris. Always great having you on the show. Catch us next week, everybody, when we have Mike Quick joining the show, and we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in to Boomer Between the Games, presented by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.